Hey, world. Being when it come back live, family, I'm gonna sit and chill here for a minute. See if anybody gonna come in the garden. Hey, world. Being when it come back live in the garden. Um, Man, hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Black Pistol, what it do? Angeline, how you doing? How you doing? Family, I just want to come back real quick. You've seen the title. The title says stimulus is over. What happens next? I want to just come back real quick because there are some things that, you know, people just think that the stimulus is the only thing that they received, like this $1,200 check. But there's also some benefits if you're not aware. If you own a home, you have a mortgage, make sure you contact your mortgage people and let them know, and just ask and inquire about whether or not, you know, they are offering forbearance programs. See, a lot of times, if you can't afford right now to pay your mortgage because of, the fact you've been, let go on your job, or, your salary's been cut, or your income has been affected, contact your mortgage companies, because they do have forbearance programs. And I'm talking not only just the federal mortgages, but also the private mortgages. Okay. Now, what the forbearance is basically them giving you, a certain amount of time where you're not responsible for paying your mortgage. You would think that would be common sense. You would think that would be something that was probably one of the provisions of this whole stimulus package. Imagine if, before you even receive the $1,200, right? Imagine, the president and those that are selected into office. Imagine them coming and saying, due to this extenuating circumstance, the fact that, for no reason of your own, we have almost 30 million people losing their jobs, and we're going to shut down the nation, where you have to be pretty much under house arrest for weeks. What we're going to do is we're going to put you under house arrest. And think about this for a minute, family. Healthy people, non-sick people, confined to their homes. And this is the thing that kind of tripped me out. Now, if you've been in the garden a while, you heard me talk about, cognitive dissonance. Hey, Black Pistol, man, hey, hit me up on a text and we'll rap about that. Okay? My heart goes out to whoever it is that you lost, family, but we'll rap about that. You dig? Stay strong, stay positive. Remember, there's no such thing as death. It's always transition. And if you lost someone, I'm hoping that's what you're talking about. You feel me? So, like I say, it's a tough situation to be healthy and as a nation be confined to a home to where you can't go out. Now, what happens is that if that's the case, there are a lot of things that can happen while you're doing that. And like I said, but first, if you're paying yourself first, you pretty much have put yourself in a situation where it's not going to be affected. But just imagine if you're in that situation where you lost your job and you weren't able to pay your bills, right? Imagine if Congress or the president, instead of saying they're going to give us free money or just give us $1,200, imagine if they said um, no one's going to be paying a mortgage, rent, utilities, phone bills. All bills are suspended until this crisis is over. That alone would ease a lot of people's stress, in and in these type of situations. $1,200, okay, yeah, I can dig it. But just imagine if all the mortgage people were contacted, all the credit card holders, which are banks, were contacted, and they were informed that no American citizen, because we pretty much told everyone they have to stay in the house. No one will have to be responsible for bills for 3 months or 6 months or until this thing is over. Now, I'm not saying, just not give us any, have us, not have to pay our bills at all, because we know that's not going to happen because nothing's free. But if you had any type of heart, any type of sympathy, you would just add, what the people owe at the end of the loan. So if someone has a mortgage and they still owe 8 years, 6 months, well, they shouldn't be responsible for 6 months of mortgages, and that just add to the end. So instead of 8 years and 6 months, it's 9 years now. You just add the 6 months to the end of the loan. Don't have the people stressed out. And I've been hearing stories about how these mortgage companies are basically, requiring that people pay this mortgages back that they haven't paid in a balloon payment. That's not right. Okay, that's why I asked in the video, the title, what happens after the stimulus? All right. Now I can tell you that I did do a live, and I said how there was going to be like a $2,000 UBI check given to everyone. What is UBI? A universal basic income check, which most countries in Europe do anyway. I mean, even in Canada, they give like a UBI check to families with children. I mean, there's a check that they give to every family with a child, regardless. You did, to help with raising your child, right? And that's on top of if you have child support or whatnot. So we are so in a bubble, and that's why I encourage your family to make sure you kind of expand your horizon and expand your knowledge to countries outside of the United States, so you can actually see how things go on in other countries. You'll see that in Europe and other countries, women that have babies, their maternity leave is paid for, and they like off 3, 4, 5 months, as well as the husband, as well as the father, right? Free education, free college education, free healthcare. These are all, things that are happening in other countries, but we don't even, have the fortitude to look outside the box to see what's going on. We accept this treatment. We accept the government telling us that, we're going to give y'all $1,200 of your own money, but we're going to give the corporations billions of dollars that belong to you, and we just let it ride. We think that's good. We're like, oh man, $1,200. Now don't get it twisted. Of course you have to accept it. You did? But just look at things from a totality standpoint. This existence is vast. And we as, so-called American people, you would think we would require more, have higher expectations. To just accept $1,200 and be happy with that. And I promise you, you got families with mortgages, you got families with, car notes and children that they have to take care of. Food, $1,200, right? And so that's why I say, if you've been in the garden a while, I'm apolitical when it comes to, the voting process, because I know it's not designed for us to make sure the people in office that are actually going to help us. Think about it, If you look at the people that are in Congress, and look at the people that's on the Supreme Court, and look at the people that's in the executive office in the White House, and you ask yourself, out of these three entities, okay, what have they done collectively in the last 3 months to help out 350 million citizens that actually pay taxes? And see, that's the thing that, you got to kind of look at. Thank you, family, for joining. Hey, Deborah. Okay, you got to kind of look at, so we shouldn't be so satisfied with crumbs, right? We have to have higher expectations in family. It starts at the local level. A lot of us think that, when Congress goes in and say, "Hey, I'm sorry, this is all we can do," and we blaming the Democrats, but then you go on the other side, the Republicans are saying, "Hey, this is all we can do. We blaming Democrats, we blaming the Republicans," but you got to understand, it's one bird, two wings. They all live together. The kids go to the same schools. They have what they call a national prayer breakfast every year. Democrats and Republicans, two wings of the same bird. So the divide and conquer is basically something that divides on purpose. So you have half of the nation co-signing for Democrats. You got the other half of the nation co-signing for Republicans. Instead of them understanding that, no, listen, that's how it's designed, so that we be the ones that not benefit from all the taxes that we're being paid, that we're being paid year after year after year. I tell you, history is very important. You go back to 1980 when Ronald Reagan came into office. You go look up Reaganomics, and you'll see how everything changed after Reagan was in office. It's common sense, family. The supreme way of communicating is through mathematics. We don't understand mathematics, and what mathematics tells you is this: if before Reagan got into office, if you made $1 million, you were paying like 80% in taxes. Okay, if you was a corporation, you were paying like 90% in taxes, and everyone else paid taxes. So if you was rich, you had to pay a lot of taxes. But guess what? With those amount of taxes being paid, right, revenue rose, and so now the country has a lot more money to accommodate the citizens that pretty much pay the taxes, right? But then when you go in and everything changes, and corporations are only required to pay 20% taxes or 15% taxes. And then you have all these, organizations that have 501c3s, nonprofit organization status, where they don't pay anything. You're going to have a deficit. And you're going to have situations where they can justify not providing for public education, not providing for Social Security, not providing for health care, allowing pharmaceutical companies to raise prices so exorbitantly that you can't even afford to live, because you can't afford the price of medications. See, as the masses, we understand that there are three entities that are making these decisions: the legislative branch, which is Congress, executive branch, which is the president, and the judicial branch, which is the judges. And we don't see that, right? And so it stands to reason why you can have them say, okay, hey, everybody go in the house and be shut down. Healthy people. Think about that. You are healthy and you locked in the house. People that have built their, finances up enough to build, to start their own business and open up their own business. The government tells them, shut it down. What? For a common cold? Right? And so that's what I'm saying. It's like, what happens after the stimulus? I promise you, if you're not paying yourself for it, because see, there's a huge sector of society right now that's not even affected by this. Because remember, they've been receiving dividend checks, or they have mad money in their individual portfolios, where they're able to just transfer the money from their portfolios to their accounts, and they can be accommodated. This is just a vacation for them. But for the masses of people that doesn't have the financial literacy to understand, you have to invest in this particular debt-laden society or this type of economy. You have to be able to, save, pay yourself first, and invest. Appreciate that, nephew. Okay, you have to. And that's why I'm always an advocate of paying yourself first and putting yourself in a situation where, you can invest in companies. Now, like I say, those that have hundreds of thousands of shares of stock in a lot of companies that pay dividends, they're not hurting right now. even if they lost their job. Remember, I'm not talking about people who are just, generational millionaires. I'm talking about those who over the years have paid themselves first, invested their money, receiving dividends, okay, are able to sell stocks and gain capital gains in these type of times. This is what happens because, see, the Federal Reserve has lowered interest rates so much that you losing money by putting it in a bank. So it's kind of like a lose-lose situation if you're not on top of this game financially, from a literal standpoint. Thank you, family, for joining me. And like I say, what happens after the stimulus? You're gonna determine that. $1,200 is not going to be something that's going to, furlough you all the way through the next 3 or 4 months. They say they want to do a payroll tax program where they want to do a payroll tax cut, where when you work and they're going to eliminate the payroll tax. Family, why hasn't it happened already? Right? If they was able to pass a stimulus package for $2.3 trillion like that, and if the Federal Reserve is able to inject into the economy $2.2 trillion like that, they can easily sign into law that no other taxes will be taken from people that are working right now, checks, just like that. Okay? So we got to understand, pay yourself first, family, because if you're just waiting on the government or to take care of you or, to work as an employee, it's going to be pretty difficult. I mean, think about the 26, almost 30 million people not working that lost their jobs. This not even including the millions of people that wasn't working before this. And so when Trump says, hey, look at African-American unemployment, Hispanic or Mexican-American unemployment, or Hispanic-American unemployment, Asian-American unemployment, the fact that they still relate to us as something American tells you have to invest. You have to take care of your situation because you're not viewed as quote unquote Americans. Because you got to ask yourself then, if you always have to designate, well, look what I'm doing. Look at the African American unemployment rate. Look at the Hispanic unemployment rate. Look at the Asian unemployment rate. Anytime you're the president of the United States and that's what your claim to fame is, you're not bringing the country together. See, that's the thing we need to understand. As long as you refer to as something American, that you really not even supposed to be in this game. So that's why you have to, the education system is not going to teach us this. You have to kind of go outside the box and start learning this stuff on your own, And it's unfortunate. So what happens next after the stimulus? We know the payroll tax deduction is going to go into effect, I guess, eventually. If you own a home, I would definitely look into calling your mortgage company or your lender and asking them about the forbearance program that they have to offer. Because if you don't, they're not going to come and tell you about it. And a lot of the private companies are offering 90 days. Federal companies like Fannie Mae, the VA, all those federal mortgage lenders, they offer 6 months forbearance. So look into that. All right. And it's unfortunate that you would think that instead of putting it on the end or deferring it to the end, that they would just forgive it because no fault of your own, you can't pay your mortgage if you lose your job. Right. So, and the last thing I want to talk about, family, before I get out of here, being an educator, it just blows my mind that I think about, because right now, family, a lot of education that's going on is online. It's distant learning. It's on a computer. But for the students that are able to do that, okay, I can dig it. But family, I don't know if you understand, but there are millions of students right now that are in a special education program that kind of falls under this guise of what they call the IDEA Act, which was the Individuals with Disabilities Act. It's the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And this particular act was supposed to accommodate all of our young students, all of our young kids with disabilities, with learning disabilities, physical disabilities, mental, emotional disabilities. And in school, the government provides services for these students whether it be physical therapy, whether it be speech therapy, whether it be occupational therapy, whether it be any type of assistance that they wouldn't get at home, but the educational system provided for them, right? Now you got to ask yourself, since we've been off and since schools have been closed, what has happened to those kids? And what about the services? Because I know that since it's COVID related, they're not receiving these services. So are these kids eventually going to get those services? I can tell you that the U.S. Secretary of Education, DeVos, this lady, she said that the budget wasn't going to change in regards to that. Now, I'm saying this. If this pandemic involves a virus that 97 to 99% of people who receive it recover, so that's less than 1% or less than 1% of people that die, and then those that die, over 98% of those have underlying health issues, then it tells me that me as an educator, I would feel comfortable going and providing a service for the students that I used to provide a service for before. Now, but when you're full of this, this fear, and you don't understand that 97, 98% of people that quote unquote get the virus recover, then you're going to be kind of skeptical, and I can dig it. But you got to ask yourself, what happens to those students? And then, of course, all the students that are seniors right now that's not going to experience a graduation. And the eighth graders that's going straight to high school that's not going to see the teachers, not going to see the kids, their peers anymore, that's pretty tough. So you got to ask yourself, what happens after the stimulus? You did? Okay. And a lot of things that's happening, we're kind of the ones that's going to be having to, take the brunt of the negativity from this pandemic. And that's why I think it's very, very important, family, that you pay yourself first, increase your financial literacy, talk to your kids. And if you're a youngster, increase your knowledge base. Don't fall, because if once you increase your knowledge base and know what's going on outside of the United States and in other places, these type of things, you'll understand that, no, this ain't right? Why is it that there are millions and millions and millions of dollars of taxpayers' money going to Europe and going to Israel and going to all these other countries, right? And right here in America, we have so many people that are homeless. We have women's shelters. We have children's shelters. We have homeless veterans, right? And they tell us that this money is going to other countries as if this is a good thing. Representing the United States, I don't remember co-signing for that, So stay conscious, family, because I promise you, the more conscious you are, the better decisions you're going to make, all right? I really appreciate you guys joining me in the garden. In the meantime, between time, may the Most High Inside bring you joy. And being with is out of 5,000.